On today's episode of Titus and Tate, it is a free-for-all Friday. What does that mean? It means whatever the hell we want it to mean.
And nothing.
We're going to talk about whatever we want. And if you don't like it, I don't know.
You can get out.
You can get out. I imagine we'll talk a little bit about fan behavior, Tate. This is becoming the hot button issue in the world of basketball.
Indefinitely is back. We don't know what it means. Coach K, as we all famously remember, it only means one game to him indefinitely, but it could mean forever because it's indefinite.
We spent however many months saying, man, we can't wait to get like the NBA was putting out PSAs like, we miss you, fans.
Fans are coming
Come back. We can't wait to play in front of you. LeBron, as we remember, what was that, going into the bubble or going into something where he's like, I'm not playing if
he
there's
said
not
he's
fans.
not going to go to the bubble without fans.
Yeah, like there must be fans. I only play for the fans. The fans are the most important thing. Now the fans are back, and they've ruined everything.
He was so hyped up last night. He said MSG is loud, and then he did the, like he was saying ass, but he just said as hell. So he was like that fired up that he was trying to bleep ass. That's how fired up LeBron was.
Wow.
So, good night.
We're going to talk about some other stuff, too, including Kofi Coburn's going to the NBA, and he was already in the NBA draft. News broke today, Thursday morning, that he is going to keep his name in the NBA draft. He is going to go play professionally. And I prepared some notes to make the case that Illinois might be the most tortured fan base in all of college basketball. So Illinois fans, I don't know if that's going to be cathartic for you to listen to me make the case for you, or if you just want to avoid this altogether.
Yes.
I don't know. You're gonna have to make the decision for yourself, but I've crunched the numbers, and it doesn't look good. And
this was the year.
Yeah, it's bad.
I take blame.
It's bad.
I pointed to them to be the team, so I take blame.
I want to give a big hug to Illinois fans, so I might do that on the show. We'll see where else we take this thing. Nobody knows. It's a free for all Friday.
We have to talk about J-Lo.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
What is happening?
All that coming up, but first,
Woody Durham.
NBA playoffs still going on, as we know. They're going to be going on for a while. We joked after we recorded the episode on Tuesday. We were talking about the start of the playoffs. We were one game into the playoffs.
Yes.
We joked about, what if that's it? What if you and I just don't talk about the playoffs the rest of the run? We're just like, we got all of our takes out. The Clippers are frauds. They still are, by the way.
I mean, but the tough part right now with the Clippers is that, you see, I even saw Bill do this. He said the series is over. Yeah. And whenever any pundit says something is over before it's over, I feel like that the gods, the sports gods, the basketball gods, whatever thing is working up there, the mysterious powers that be, they make things happen. So I have a little bit, and Paul George, God bless him, after the game said he has no concern. Titus, you lose your first 2 games at home in a series, no concern level. Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
What is the thought process behind declaring a series over? Like, it's just for the content, I suppose. It's just you're just going there. You're like, I'm gonna take it there. I'm gonna say this is it, but I don't really understand.
I think it's for a historical, especially in Bill's case, it's historical. He wants to put a pin in it to say this is when I knew the series was over.
Yeah, when was the? I guess I was doing this when we were watching NCAA tournament games together. When Baylor at the under 4 or the under 16 time out of the first half, when Baylor was up on Gonzaga, I turned to you and I said it's over.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that kind of thing.
I get it. I'm a hypocrite.
Let's start a new segment. It's over. We go back through history and we say this is when it was over.
This is the moment in time when it was over. The moment in time I'm watching, by the way, we're in the studio, we got 1,000 TVs right now, and I'm watching Russell Westbrook, and they're showing all these fans, and we're getting ready to talk about it, but is this the moment in time fans being back is over? That's what it feels like. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to first talk about Kofi Coburn, because Andy Katz came on the show, how long ago was that? Last week? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago,
I think.
Yeah, maybe last week.
And he said it was surprising to him that Kofi Coburn had not withdrawn his name from the NBA draft yet.
And he gave us like a little bit of hope.
That he hadn't said he's staying in the draft. He was like, that's weird. Like, do you feel like Kofi might actually come back?
Like the tide was changing.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, Andy, I never actually thought about it. But yeah, maybe Kofi Coburn might come back. And then this morning, the news breaks that he's not coming back. Kofi Coburn is going to stay in the NBA draft, and Illinois has now lost basically their entire team from last year, except for Curbelo
and Trent Frazier.
Like, those are the 2 guys. Yeah. And Brad Underwood for now. But like, honestly, the way it keeps going, Brad Underwood. Who knows? Curbelo and Trent Frazier might not be back, for all we know. Even though they said they're back, We don't know. Who knows at this
I'll
point?
tell you right now, Team Frazier's coming back. Coach Frazier also back, so we got 2 Fraziers in the building.
And I was thinking about it because this season, if you remember, in Illinois basketball was so important to Illinois. This was Illinois fans were very vocal. They were very maybe annoying, but in some ways.
They were
but
forward facing is probably the best term, right? They were very out there. Yeah.
And if you're a neutral observer, you're asking yourself, why is it? Like, what the hell is going on? Why are they so excited about this? And the reason is, Tate, that it has been a long time since 2005. The 2005 team, as you are well aware, goes to the national title game, loses to North Carolina. One of the great all-time teams that didn't win a national championship, was undefeated for a long time before they lost to Ohio State. Funny, I just now put that together.
It's us.
It's us.
It was us.
We did this.
Illinois fans now are skipping ahead.
Yeah, get me out of here. And this was the best team they'd had since 2005. This is the first time they've had a legitimate shot at a national title. They have not won a Big Ten title since 2005 either. So this was the team that could just fix all of that. They had not been to a Sweet 16 since 2005. There's a lot of since 2005 going on. This team with Ayo Dosunmu, Kofi Cockburn, Adam Miller's Illinois Mr. Basketball. He's a freshman now, and he's a Chicago recruit that people are excited about. I think he was from Peoria actually, but he went to high school in Chicago or something like that. So, you know, you can frame it as a Chicago deal, which, like, as we know, was always a big thing with Illinois basketball. They can't get the Chicago recruits. All the stars had aligned, Tate. At long last, Illinois basketball was back, and that's why as this season progressed, it became more and more monumental. It felt like as each week went by, the stakes were raised for what this has to be like.
And they were checking all the boxes. You know, they had the guard play, the backcourt. You know, you had these featured stars. Ayo was taking the country by storm. We were falling in love with him. The Big Ten was by far the best conference.
Yeah.
You kept telling me this.
Yes.
America kept believing this.
Yes.
It was a Big Ten year. That's what everyone was saying.
Illinois. And in Illinois fans' minds, they were the best team in the Big Ten all season.
So therefore, property,
we're the best team in the
basketball.
country. Like, yeah, we're back. And that's why it was so important, like, winning the regular season Big Ten title. They did not technically win it, but in their minds, Illinois fans said,
a wink.
We won. We beat the hell out of Michigan.
There was dodging that happened.
Yeah, we beat the hell out of Michigan at Michigan without our best player. We won more conference games than Michigan did. How the hell did we not win the Big Ten title? This doesn't make any sense. We're going to take it. And then the Big Ten tournament comes around, and they say, you know what? We'll prove once and for all that we deserve this. They win the Big Ten tournament. They get their trophy. And again, you felt like in the moment, I think that did they celebrate too much? Did we talk about this? Like it felt like why are you so happy to win this? And that's why, though. It's been a long time since 05, Tate. The Illinois has raised a trophy and been this excited about something. So that was it. That was why this season meant so much. And then they lose to Loyola, as we know, and everything has fallen apart since then. So I just wanted to, like, take a quick minute and just give Illinois fans a virtual hug through your headphones or however you're listening to this, because since then. Since losing to, first of all, you lose not just in the second round of the NCAA tournament. They've not been to a Sweet 16 since 2005, Tate. They were a 1 seed this year, as you know. This is the first 1 seed they've had since 2005. They lose to Loyola in the second round. Loyola is an in-state program. Loyola is in Chicago. That sucks. That is.
It was a bad matchup, as Andy Katz would say. So
you don't just lose. It's a bad matchup where if they play it, like, everyone has to watch that. And as we've said on the show 100 times since then, if they play that game 10 more times, Loyola's probably winning 9 of them. Like, it did not look like an upset at all. It looked like Loyola was just the better team.
And it also showed that Kofi Cockburn was going to struggle in the next level with, screen roll defense, which if you watched the Jazz game last night, you saw that it was all screen and roll. That's all that they were running in that game, basically. So that also adds, a little bit of intrigue. About a week ago, like you said, with Andy Katz, we're thinking, well, maybe Kobe's going to come back, maybe work on that sort of stuff, be the featured player this year at Illinois, build back some sort of, belief and sort of hope in this program. And that was the worst part, because when they won the Big Ten tournament, then it was fully 2005.
Yeah.
We were all everything said this was 05 again.
Did they do like a photo shoot where they looked like the three-headed monster of 05, and they had that with,
and also Ayo took the Kobe picture.
Yep, Ayo took the Kobe picture.
With the Big Ten title trophy. Yep. And that was, I think, the moment in time. And as we know, this was a weird year. They didn't get to go back to campus and celebrate.
Yeah.
So they had to stay in Indy.
Yep.
They're still celebrating, and then wait a second, now this hungry team that has everything to prove, and you have everything to lose, it was a perfect basketball matchup for the upset.
And even if the upset happens, it sucks. Upsets happen in college basketball. Spoiler alert. This isn't the end of the world because
we remember Florida.
Yes, Florida lost to Oral Roberts. I mean, it could be worse, Illinois fans. You could be Florida.
Wow.
It could be Florida. So Illinois loses. That sucks. But Io's probably going to go to the NBA. You knew that. But Brad Underwood's back. Orlando Antigua's back, one of the best recruiters in the country. You still have him on his staff. Yeah. Kofi might come back. He could be. He's certainly going to be preseason All-American. Might be preseason National Player of the Year, depending on how people feel about Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme, others. Like Kofi would have been one of the 5 best players coming into the season.
Brad Davison.
Brad. That's probably the list. You have Curbelo, Trent Frazier, Adam Miller's coming back. Like there's a lot of reason. Even though we're upset by Loyola, I like the direction of the program. And if I'm an Illinois fan, I come out and I say that sucks. That kind of takes the wind out of our sails. But we're okay. We're focusing on the big picture. We're trying to build this program back. And since then, Tate. As we said, Adam Miller gets the bag from LSU. He is transferred to LSU. He wasn't just like their prized 5-star recruit. Curbelo ended up being like the sexy recruit for Illinois fans, and he's back, so they're excited about that. But Adam Miller is Mr. Basketball, and Illinois is a state where Mr. Basketball matters. Illinois and Indiana, and I don't know the others, but those are the 2 big ones that carry the cachet of like if we can get the Mr. Basketball at our flagship school.
New York's going to be upset, so I'll just say New York so we can give them the credit. But even even that's a little...
Even that, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
No.
When I think of Mr. Basketball New York of this generation, I think of like Kyle Anderson, or Kemba Walker or someone like that, which is...
Yeah, but does that have like does Mr. Basketball of New York going to Syracuse or St. John's like carry cachet throughout the whole state?
I think it's now an afterthought. Maybe. Like when you find out they were Mr. Basketball, you're like, oh, great.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, instead of being like, I know who Mr. Basketball is.
Like in Indiana and Illinois, if you win Mr. Basketball and you're from a tiny ass farm town,
everybody knows,
and you're a 3-star recruit. But like if you're Mr. Basketball in Indiana and Indiana offers you a scholarship, there's no IU fans aren't like, why are we giving this guy a scholarship? He sucks. He's a 3-star recruit. You're saying he's Mr. Basketball. That makes sense. Get him to Bloomington. Same with Illinois, I'd say. So losing Adam Miller hurts for that reason because like Mr. Basketball and Chicago recruit, that sort of deal.
And
like,
keeping our guys in
keeping our guys in state.
It's the whole recruiting pitch.
They have now lost literally every single assistant coach on staff. All 3 assistant coaches are gone. What's his name? Was it Gentry? Gentry goes to Gonzaga as we anticipated. It was Gentry, right? That's a good.
I think so.
Yeah. They lose the 2 guys to Kentucky.
Of course.
Yeah. What?
No, I was just going to say, and then I saw, earlier today we had the assistant coaches are out in the media sphere right now, and they're doing the whole pitch about Kentucky last year. They went from a flagship program. They lose Kenny Payne. So they're trying to put out that assistant coaches are at a premium in college basketball. They're trying to get to the $1 million territory so an assistant coach can get paid $1 million.
Who's trying to do this?
This is the Florida State assistant coaches. I've seen a lot of interviews, and they're kind of bouncing around and they're putting this out in the ether. I've seen Clemson do this a little bit because at the end of the day, as you know, I mean, I heard one of them say that Tom Izzo is not running practice. The assistant coaches are. So we're the ones that are actually very vital to these programs. And the whole I think the whole idea behind it is that these assistant coaches get more head coaching opportunities. So like look at a school, they're successful, they should get head coaching opportunities. Like we can go through a ton of assistant coaches that are probably in this pool, but regardless, that's kind of what's happening in college basketball. The assistant coaches are getting a voice, they're getting a platform, and they're trying to make some noise. And that's why Illinois is so fascinating from the outside looking in, because obviously people are impressed with what Antigua was doing there, and they start poaching.
And they poach literally every single
and everything
one of
has been poached.
Underwood's assistants. And then Io goes to the draft, which was not surprising at all. But then Kofi has now stayed in the draft, and that's the state of Illinois basketball this year. But it's not just this year, because I wanted to make the case that, like, the more I thought about it, I was like, this is so on brand for Illinois. And Illinois fans, if you're still listening, you're nodding along, and you're like, yeah, this is just twist of the knife after twist of the knife. And if you're not an Illinois fan and you're like, I don't really know much about the plight of Illinois, please explain to me why you believe that they are probably the most tortured fan base in all of college basketball. Number one, in order to be tortured, I think tortured means there's some standard of expectation. Like, it's not enough to like be like Northwestern fans would be like, we're tortured, dude. Like we've been to one tournament, and you know, like that's. But come on, like you know what you're getting yourself into.
Your expectations are here. Low.
Illinois
very
has
low.
The bar very high for good reason, because they are a program that you, like if you hear Illinois basketball, you're like, that's one of the best programs in the country.
I think of Jerry Colangelo.
Yeah.
The most powerful man in basketball.
Yes, that is it is a brand that has cachet.
Yes.
And Illinois fans feel this, they know this. It is a basketball state. They go nuts for basketball. And this is what their plight has been. So in 1989, the Flying Illini make the Final Four, right?
Yes.
That is
Kendall Gill.
Everyone remembers this team.
Stephen Bardo has been on the program.
Since 1989, Illinois basketball has made one Final Four. It was 2005, as you know. It took like a miraculous.
I really wish Ben and J-Lo were dating in 2005, so when we get to that portion, I can say, and again, it all goes back to 2005. But yes, 2005.
2005.
Illinois basketball was king in 2005.
Since 1989, they made one Final Four. They've had one team good enough to win the national title. It was 2005.
Yes.
01 team is pretty good, but they've had one team go to the Final Four. It was 2005. It took a miracle in the Elite Eight.
Yes.
We did a TNT Classic about it.
Salim Stoudemire.
Illinois comes back from down 1,000 to beat Arizona miraculously. To keep the Final Four run alive. But even in the end, that was a magical season. Every Illinois fan remembers it and loves it. There is still the part of like the Illinois fans genuinely believe that they were better in North Carolina, and that team, like, for that reason, quote unquote, underachieved. You know, like if you're an Illinois fan, you're like, yeah, it was fun. We were undefeated for most of the season. It was the best team in school history, but we should have won the national title. Like, we were not happy to just be there. We wanted to win the national title. We were playing the title game in St. Louis, which isn't Illinois, but it's close enough that like we had the home court advantage over North Carolina. So it's a weird historical look back if you're an Illinois fan, because you're like, yeah, it was awesome, but I'm not going to pretend like that was 100% awesome, because like, we should have won the title.
I think you judge it by the point guards' NBA careers, and Raymond Felton outlasted Darren Williams. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, the right team won 75-7.
That's not what
That's
I'm
how
saying.
you judge it.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're an Illinois fan, you're not a Butler fan. Butler fans look back on 2010 and 2011.
They're excited about
and they're
being
like, dude, we
in
made
the
it to the title game. That was tight.
Illinois fans feel owed. That's why this year, this was the title that they deserved in 2005. Yes.
As a program, Illinois has the second most. Shout out to SCBB on Fox for throwing this stat out recently, and I saw this and took note of it. Illinois is tied with Purdue for the second most NCAA tournament wins, Tate, of all time, of teams that have never won a national championship. They're one win behind Oklahoma. Oklahoma has 43 NCAA tournament wins without a title. Illinois and Purdue both have 42. And the reason, you'd say to me, like, what makes Illinois stand out with Purdue and Oklahoma? Why isn't Oklahoma more tortured than Illinois? Why isn't Purdue as tortured as Illinois? They are in their respective ways. I would point to Oklahoma, number one, 2016 Final Four run.
Yep.
Number two, Oklahoma has
unfortunately lost by 44
lost
points.
by 1,000, but you know, you've made it recently. That was fun.
There, yeah.
You got there.
Yeah.
Number two, they've had two national players of the year recently.
Yes.
Buddy Hield,
Trey Young,
Blake Griffin. Trey Young did not win.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I'm saying.
Trey should have won.
Yeah, the
Should've
best
won.
among them, the best Oklahoma player they've had recently, didn't even win national
He
player
won
of the year.
our national player of the year, I should say. Yes.
So basically, like 3 national player of the year caliber players have gone through Oklahoma. So even if you're not winning national titles, you're still like
relevant.
You made one Final Four. You're having like these guys that are national players. It's a fun time to be an Oklahoma fan, and ultimately, you know, you're not winning national titles, but I mean, Brady Manick played for you guys. That's exciting. Who doesn't love him? Same with Purdue. Purdue has won since 2005, because that seems
I can't
to be
believe he plays again.
I know. You said that earlier this week, and I was like, what is he talking about, Brady Manick? Oh my God,
Yes,
that's right.
Yes. He is our star player.
We're using 2005 as the cutoff point. So since 2005, Purdue has won 3 regular season Big Ten titles, Tate. They've been to 3 straight Sweet 16s from 17 to 19. Like, Purdue has, they beat the snot out of Indiana every time they play. Again, like, it's not, don't hang a banner. I mean, Purdue might, because Purdue, like, is so desperate to hang something in Mackey Arena. They might hang a banner, but, you know, there's something. There's
Best bathrooms in the Big Ten.
Yeah, best bathrooms.
Hang the banner.
If you're a Purdue fan, you have something, and you're like, yeah, this is great. We're winning trophies.
No Joe Eastern played here.
Again, there are reasons to be excited. Illinois has won 0 Big Ten titles regular season since 2005.
Wow.
They have been to 0 Sweet 16 since 2005. there's kind of been nothing except like these moments in time that you get excited about, which is like Ayo Dosunmu announcing he's going to come back coming into last year.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, is this our time? And that's why they thought it was going to be their time. From 1989 to 2005, also Tate, which is I'm using that run because one, it's Final Four to Final Four, but it's also the 16 years up until 2005. Illinois had 6 McDonald's All-Americans commit and play for the Illini. In the 16 years since, so 05 to now 2021, they've had one. It was Jeremy Richmond, who showed up in 2010, was a one-and-done guy who went undrafted, never played a second in the NBA, and has been in legal trouble ever since. So that's
a very sad story.
Yeah, that's the stat. That's like where that's the caliber of recruit they're pulling in. Meanwhile, you mentioned that we were talking about this.
Myers Leonard wasn't a McDonald's All-American.
He was not.
That's shocking.
He was not.
That's actually disrespectful.
Speaking of that, like going back to the Oklahoma guys, like if you're an Oklahoma fan,
I feel like Mason Plumlee got it over him actually.
Probably.
Yeah.
If you're an Oklahoma fan, you at least have like you can throw on the NBA game and be like Buddy Hield. That's cool. Blake Griffin's on the Nets. He's not the same player he was, but like he might win a title. That's cool. I'm gonna take some ownership as an Oklahoma fan. Trae Young is shushing Madison Square Garden. That's cool. All of this is cool. If you're an Illinois fan, you're like Kendrick Nunn went here before he transferred to Oakland.
Yeah.
And
you're like Darren Williams had the first super team in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And he's no longer in the league. And Myers Leonard, he's still in the league, right? Like that's what you say.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's really all you got.
Yes.
But this is the last point I wanted. No, it's not. I have more. But this is one of the big point that stood out to me because this is the real twist of the knife, is that since 2005, there have been 4 National Players of the Year from Illinois that did not go to Illinois. Evan Turner in 2009, Anthony Davis in 2012, Frank Kaminsky in 2015, Jalen Brunson in 2016. All these guys are from Illinois, Tate. None of them went to Illinois. They went somewhere else. They win National Player of the Year. Cliff Alexander in 2014 happens. 2007. This is all since 05. 2007, Illinois loses their mascot, which they probably did for, it's probably the right move, but still, like, it's just, that's the state of the program. And I just wanted to point this out. I wanted to call attention to this. Illinois fans, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Cheer for Kofi in the NBA.
I mean, even like Lovie Smith being there, you thought would have some more cachet with the football program.
Yeah, it didn't. So
who was that quarterback that I love? Shieldhaas at one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they've had their moments where, like even McCamey, that era, you were kind of remembered it, and you were like, "Oh, Illinois, here's a little something."
Yeah, they got dicked by Miami, I think, in the second round of the tournament that year. Yeah, one of those years.
They've had these bright spots or these moments, like you said,
they have,
moments
but they're
in
not
time.
bright spots.
They're not.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I want to
point out.
There's
slivers of hope.
Because again, that's interesting because I think that like if you're not paying any attention, you would think that Illinois has had some bright spots, and that's what I guess what I wanted to accomplish today was to point out
they
have not.
Okay,
there've really been not very many bright spots at all. In fact,
free for all Friday, Illinois, we apologize.
Kofi is going to the NBA or he's going to the draft. I don't know.
I love the backcourt.
I don't know what. God damn it! Don't do this. Don't do this.
Love the backcourt. Second team all Big Ten. I think both of them.
Oh man, I think Iowa's going to be good in the NBA though.
I think so.
He'll have a good NBA career. Kofi, I'm worried about, but I don't know.
I don't know. You know, it's one of those things with the NBA where you watch guys in college and you're like, I don't see it, and then you watch them play in the NBA and you're like, this is not who I watch.
Yeah.
And then there's some guys that you watch in college that you expect that maybe make that same.
Right.
And then you watch them like James Young, as much as like that was made fun of. I thought James Young at least would be able to have some. PJ Hairston's another guy. I'm like, he's gonna find a way to stay in the to be able to play and be on a team, but. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't translate.
For God's sakes, Joel Embiid has become so like he was great in college, but if I'm trying to make a case for Kofi Cockburn lasting in the NBA, I look at like Joel Embiid. And I'm not saying Kofi's even going to come close to being as good as him, but Joel Embiid couldn't like.
He's Hakeem Olajuwon 2.0.
He was so much more mobile that like I can feel people losing their mind that I'm trying to compare the two. Joel Embiid, like he wasn't stepping out and shooting threes. He wasn't he wasn't doing it. Wasn't. No. He was very much like just get on the block.
The skill level that he is, like how much he has grown into a basketball player is insane.
I'm saying
he already had the touch and those types of things, of course, the footwork, but like it's gone to an exponential level where he is going to be, if he's on, he's almost unstoppable, and there's a chance that he could be revered in that same light as an Elijah Wan or, list goes on with those big guys.
But I was using him, as a guy that, like, just suddenly you just, like, actually practice skill. And instead of saying, like, go sit on the block and just make post moves, which Joel Embiid was awesome at that.
Still is.
He was
He's
awesome in Kansas at
the Sixers are unstoppable at every level of the post. The high post, mid post, and the low post. Unstoppable with different guys. With Tobias, with Ben, and with Joel. That's why I love them so much. And I have a great time watching them, and I'm so glad that they played so well in Game 2. I needed a definitive game because the Eastern Conference, I know we're getting off subject, but it's Free For All Friday. The Eastern Conference, to me, there's 3 teams that are really trying to assert themselves as the best. I think it's the Nets, obviously, as we all know, the favorites to win it all. The Bucks have done that. I believe they've gotten over something with this Miami Heat team. We'll see how they look in Miami, but right now I feel good about it. And then I think the Sixers are obviously the 1 seed, and they needed to show people that, hey, we're not worried about, this pesky, I think the best team that those 3 teams are playing right now is obviously the Wizards. They're the hottest team. Best player is Beal, and they've handled it well. So those 3 teams are they got my attention, you know what I mean? And the Eastern Conference, as much as everyone wants to talk about the West, I am fascinated to see who is going to kind of rise because the Nets think it's them, and it has to be them, and they're destined. Yeah. And Giannis thinks he's destined, and the Sixers are kind of due.
It feels like a lot of college basketball themes where it's, there are a lot of teams of destiny, but there can only be one.
There can only be one.
The
like
Big Ten,
Illinois going into this tournament, they were the team of destiny.
The Big Ten had to win a title. Gonzaga had to win a title.
Yes.
None of them did.
And then Baylor had to win a title too, but we just kind of forgot that they had to win a title, and they were like, we have to win a title.
That's right. I forgot Gonzaga's program folded because they didn't win the title this year, and they had to win it. They had to. And
they had to.
And they did. Completing my thought on Kofi because
sorry.
I was doing a poor job because I'm not saying that Joel Embiid, I don't know. Joel Embiid was not Kofi. What I'm saying is, as you were pointing out, is like when guys do go pro, you never know because like Kofi Coburn to me does have cement blocks for feet and is going to struggle to move his feet. And probably that's going to be the case. But I don't know. Get him with Drew Hanlon for 2 summers and he's shooting left-handed floaters. Yeah. And suddenly you look up in 5 years and Kofi Coburn's jab stepping, hitting threes, fading away. And like that's how it works now with guys. So you can't take the college version of a guy and say that's not going to translate. Same with Luka Garza, for God's sakes. Like what if Luka Garza? No, probably not. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's the point. You don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
I would love if Luka Garza proved everyone wrong. You know what I mean? It does feel like Luka Garza is going to be like the 55th, 56th pick in the draft. Yeah. And then hopefully be able to catch on somewhere. We'll see him at Summer League, that's for sure. And that's what really matters.
Same kind of with Anthony Davis, by the way. I know he was obviously the greatest one and done season in the history of college basketball. But what did he average, like 12 points a game?
I mean, even the title
never
game.
shot. He never did. He just dunked. That's all he ever did. And now you watch him. He's automatic from like 15 feet, hitting fadeaways over dudes and stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is.
It really is.
That's the NBA.
Anyway, have I done enough? Have I made the case that Illinois? I don't know. I just kind of I
feel bad for Illinois fans because it is true because even Jeffrey Jordan, like Michael Jordan's first son, went to Illinois to play basketball. North Carolina says, there's no room here for you. Michael Jordan's very upset. He kind of distanced himself from the program and says, I'm going to take up Illinois. I'm going to be around Illinois. I'm going to be locked in with Jeffrey. They don't play Jeffrey. Yeah. He ends up transferring to Central Florida where Marcus, the youngest brother, is playing, and then Illinois loses Jordan. Yeah. And just think, like, if they had just said, hey, Jeffrey, you're going to play about 10, 12 minutes a game, and Marcus, you're also going to get a scholarship to play here, they have Michael Jordan forever, maybe. Yeah. So you also lost Jordan.
I'm sorry.
That's my final point.
Sorry, Illinois fans. I didn't mean to.
We're here for you.
It was.
We will put out propaganda. As I said, I love the backcourt next year. It's Curbelo, Frazier.
Yeah. I just want them to figure it. Like I just want like a month to go by where I don't wake up and like check Twitter or like check college basketball news and see that Illinois like lost something or someone or recruit is flipped or I just want I want good things to happen. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I'm done making
that was a good
case.
soapbox.
Yeah. Moving on. What else? What do you want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about an Illinois recruit who did not go to Illinois, and that is Derrick Rose.
Moving on. Let's talk about more.
I just wanted to say, the New York Knickerbockers, they went into this series with a lot of confidence, with a lot of cachet, with a lot of desire for greatness.
Yeah.
And also, as we talked about in our last episode, a lot of room for pressure. And Spike Lee's in the building. He's hitting Julius Randle in the chest. He's saying, put this team on your back, young man. New York is on your back. We're all watching. We're all pulling for you. Julius Randle says, wait a second. What? Hold up. Stop. Pause. And luckily, the New York Knicks have a true all-star, an MVP on this team. His name is Derrick Rose. I asked Thibodeau to start Derrick Rose. He said he couldn't do it in the first half. Elfrid Payton, for some reason, I don't know if it's mental or what. It must be mental. He has to start the game. But the second half, Derrick Rose started, and the New York Knicks started to climb up. And then history, in my opinion, was made. The first playoff win in 8 years. I don't know. I honestly don't know how the comeback happened, but it was all will. It was all the building. It was all the crowd. I mean, we'll talk about the spitting incident later because that was not a part of this. That was separate. Totally separate.
Totally separate.
We've heard that Elfrid Payton was the one who did spit on Trae Young, so maybe Derrick will start from the start of the game, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But in general, the fact that Taj Gibson after the game was beautiful about it. He was just like, I feel like I'm living in some magnificent moment, and I don't want to like talk about it and make it taboo, but the fact that Derrick Rose, I mean, he was basically ran out of town in New York 4 years ago, and now he's back and just won their first playoff game, and he is by far their best player. Let's just be honest about it. And it was great.
This is the power of Madison Square Garden and New York media, and
this is the power of Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? I'm all in for D Rose. Remember that commercial when that came? I've been all in since then. And I've been waiting for Derrick to at least have the stage.
Taj Gibson is calling this like a magical that you're a 4 seed, that you even a first round series 1-1.
Just for Derrick. Just for Derrick. Not even about the Knicks winning. Look, the Knicks winning is secondary to the Derrick Rose. I cannot believe that Derrick, like if Derrick's career ended where he was the one MVP to not get in the Hall of Fame, that would have been like a gut punch to everything that he did because he was unbelievable. And the fact that he's been able to reinvent himself and now come back and be a star in New York, which means the media machine is going to get him in the Hall of Fame.
The media machine is...
That is magical. That's what I'm happy about.
It is unbelievable that the Knicks win one playoff game. And it's been 8 years. And first of all, 8 years is not that long.
Not that long. I mean, it is not, they need to figure out like the days. You know what I mean? They need to say how many days it's been because that sounds a lot, more extreme. 8 years doesn't sound that bad. 8 years doesn't
really sound that long, to be honest with you.
And poor Carmelo, by the way. As all this is happening, people were saying Julius Randle is the greatest Knick ever.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose wins this playoff game. People were saying, like, put his jersey in the rafters. Carmelo, spent however 9 years there and was getting the 4 seed and losing in the first round. He's like, I've won a playoff game in the first round before, and they're like, 8 years ago. Get it out of here. Forgot about it.
This is the joy of the New York media machine is that
what have you done for me lately?
They've convinced everybody that winning one game is because if this
I could see the Hawks winning this series in 5, but I just want to say for that moment in time, the Knicks winning a game was magical.
If this was happening in Minnesota, if the Minnesota Timberwolves...
They're not playing in MSG.
If they win one game and the fans spill out of the arena and they're on the subway chanting...
to be honest with you...
Everyone else around the country be like, these fans
There's real Knicks fans and then there's cloud chasers. And we all know the cloud chasers. And they are the ones that are spitting on Trae Young. They're the one that are outside of MSG
we want
dancing,
Brooklyn.
Dancing like they just won the title. You're like, what is happening? But that is what it is. I mean, I'm happy that those people care about basketball, and I say that as I roll my eyes. But at the end of the day, it was great to see a real basketball roster because RJ Barrett, I mean, no offense, Reggie Bullock took your spot, you know what I mean, in the crunch time lineup. So get him out of here. You got Derrick Rose, you got Reggie Bullock, you got Alec Burks, you got Taj Gibson, and you got Julius Randle. And that's your real 5 in New York. That's the 5 that could potentially win the series. I don't know if they're going to play those 5.
They're not going to win the series.
That 5 could win the series. That's my 5. I'm riding with that 5. I know it sounds crazy, but I love Taj Gibson. I obviously love Derrick Rose. I've always thought Alec Burks since Colorado was a star.
You're drinking the media machine
Kool-Aid.
No,
I'm not. You know what I'm drinking? The Tibbs machine.
Okay.
If Tom Thibodeau was coaching anyone but the Boston Celtics and doing this with these players, I would be hyped. Like if this was happening on the Bulls right now, I would be even more hyped because it would be Jordan's team, D Rose's team. I would be on fire. if it was Chicago. But I'm happy that because Tibbs knows real basketball, cares about real basketball. So does Derrick Rose, and so does New York in theory. So
I just can't. Like,
it just feels good. It feels good, Titus. I'm fired up.
It feels good. They won a game. The Hawks, even though the Hawks lost game 2, I came away from that thinking the Hawks
seem like
they're
the better
much
team.
better team.
Yes.
They're a much better team.
Yes.
But that's okay.
It's okay.
Derrick Rose is. Do you think he's tired? Do you think he's worn down? Because
No,
I got that feel. I saw him
down.
in the post-game press conference, or not in the post-game. He was like on the court, whatever you call that, the stand-up where he's just sitting there and they throw the headset on him. And boy, that guy looked like.
It's what I told you last episode, which is he had to decide to be the star of the team because Julius is not the star. He's the most improved. You know, he's not the star though. There's only one star on the team. And maybe 2. Maybe it's Alec Burks, but it's Derrick Rose, and that is who has. And I don't think he wanted to shoulder that burden necessarily. I think doing the post-game press conference is not where Derrick Rose wants to be in his career. Let's just be honest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just wanted to do fill-in duty and just like hit a few shots and make a few plays here.
I want to be
carrying
mentoring someone that's going to be great like quickly.
Yeah.
But he's not ready. And Julius isn't ready. I am. I've been there, so I got to do it.
Boy, it is something that because I'm with you. I'm watching it. And
That's
I'm like,
greatness. That's greatness.
What a great story. What a great scene in New York. I can't believe that the Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals and are wait what? This is the first round. Oh wait, what? Like I said, you do the test of like if this was going on in Detroit and the Pistons were. The Pistons fans were losing their minds.
Yes.
They're like, it's been, but you have to understand, it's been 8 years since we've won a playoff game.
Even if Lakers
like, what?
fans,
That's not even
even
that
if
long.
Lakers fans were doing this, people would say that they're being.
But for some reason, it works.
Yeah.
Like it all, like I don't know, because I watch it and I'm like, yeah, this is a cool story. And it's like, what's the story? That you haven't won a playoff game in 8 years? Like what? Get in line. You know how many? Seattle doesn't have a team, dude. Like, Seattle has their team stolen. And New York fans are like, it's been 8 years.
Yeah, please, basketball gods, bless us.
Seattle's like, we don't even have a team.
They're coming back. Man. They're coming back.
Speaking of fans and reactions, should we go through this a little bit of like what this is the topic of the day in the NBA is the fan behavior, because it just kind of all coalesced where there were 3 big stories going on at pretty much the exact same time. Number one, Russell Westbrook gets popcorn poured on him.
Dumped on him, yeah.
Just dumped all over him. Number 2, Trae Young gets spit on.
He did my favorite. I'm good. Just let me go. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him.
You just want to talk
to him. Just let me go for a second. Just as soon as you let him go. I've always felt like in those types of moments, like you have to just let them go a little bit, you know, to see how like hard they want to go. Because a lot of people I think Russell Westbrook would have climbed up there for real.
I'm with you. You let him go. You don't let him like wail on the guy.
Yeah.
But you let him go
just
to a point.
Yeah. Just like to mess with that guy, because he deserves to be freaked out too.
Right.
And if Russell Westbrook pulls himself up there and is staring at you, it's a different show.
Suddenly, yeah.
And I don't think Russell Westbrook's gonna do anything malicious. I think he literally will say something to him and then probably just jump back down. But
I heard Barkley make the case that players should be able to punch
one fan.
He
said that back in the 90s.
Yeah.
He said every game, every player should be able to punch one fan.
As more time passes, Ron Artest and Steven Jackson their legacy of the Malice in the Palace is becoming better and better.
I mean,
like,
it is true though. Like, if you think that you can just throw shots and like it's all going to be good and gravy, and you're saying hurtful things that you would never say on the street, you have to understand that there is a level of, you know, that wall can be broken, as we've seen with you know, Meta Artest. I mean, the wall was broken.
The wall was broken, and Jermaine O'Neal almost killed a guy if he doesn't slip.
Yes.
Oh
man.
So you get Russell Westbrook with the popcorn. You get Trae Young getting spit on, and then also the Trae Young chance, which I want to talk to you about here in a second. And then thirdly, Kyrie is preemptively talking about the crowd in Boston and the reaction racism he's going to get in Boston and the racism. But Danny Ainge did come out and say that racism doesn't exist in Boston. So I don't know what Kyrie's talking about.
I mean,
Danny Ainge assured me that in this 26 years, he has never once experienced.
And Gordon Hayward somehow in Charlotte tweeted, "Yes, Danny is correct." I've never seen it. Robert Parrish and Bill Russell, if you want to have like an actual education about some of the things that have happened with the franchise and Boston and basketball.
No, we don't. But we don't want to do that.
Yeah, but we don't want to do that.
We'd rather just say Danny Ainge said it's okay. So it's just not. What's the problem here?
I mean, honestly, I give Kyrie it works the media, and I think it's smart of him to get ahead of it because now he is basically assured that no one can say anything like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Dude, it was like it was 5D chess.
Yes.
Like now, if Boston fans
if you
boo him,
do anything, like he's got you. He's like, told you. I love that. I think it's a good play.
But in light of all of these things, meanwhile, by the way, aside from basketball, there was a fight at the Dodgers Astros game in Houston.
I think
it was yesterday, something like this week. Not too long ago, there was a fight with a bunch of women actually of the White Sox Cardinals game. A bunch of women were wailing on each other in the stands. And so I wanted to just have a broader discussion about fans being back because it is funny that we've spent all this time talking about the difference of sporting events with no fans. Yeah, and honest to God, leagues were putting out PSAs like we cannot wait to have you guys back. Mm-hmm. We need fans. Fans are the heartbeat of what we do.
Yes.
We can't wait to have you. And then the moment the fans are coming back, I mean, we called it out the Big Ten tournament when finally there's fans in college, but like it felt like there was a little bit of an atmosphere as we were watching the Big Ten tournament, and Indiana fans go to Lucas Oil Stadium, and Archie Miller comes out of the tunnel, and they just boo the shit out of him. And I was like, this is so funny.
Finally, our opportunity to voice our.
You've waited all this time to get back, and you thought like there'd be some kumbaya moment of like, oh my God, I've been waiting just to like have a hot dog at a game, and God, it'd be so good, and I won't complain about anything ever again. And we're finding that that's the exact opposite. And there are a lot of people that at the moment they get back in the seats, old habits die hard, and they're spitting on people and throwing popcorn and all of that. And
here's my pitch to the NBA or to someone that's funny. Maybe we do this, but we should make a PSA for all those fans that were at home during the pandemic, and it's them sitting in their room and they're watching on TV, and Russell Westbrook does a dunk and mean mugs and look at the crowd, and that guy dumps popcorn over his television. He's like been practicing. He's like, I can't wait until I get, and then this guy's at home. He's watching Trae Young. He's just spitting on the ground, like getting ready for it.
It's a Rocky montage.
They've been waiting for this moment, It's the one moment that they can do this. I mean, in general, I saw John Collins, shout out to John the Baptist. He's like, I don't understand it. Why do you come to a basketball game and this is like how you act and how you behave?
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, a lot of people are there for the atmosphere of it all, and they're just going to act out and act wild.
Because when you're a fan, and I've never done hooligan behavior. I've booed guys, or that's probably the extent I've ever taken it. And
I had a Tennessee fan
I can't remember,
throw a beer bottle at me from the top at the Music City Bowl in 2010. Dodged it, but then also my mom was like, wow, these Tennessee fans are something else. You know what I mean? But it's like that could have been murder. You know what I mean? Like
could have been me. Could have been me. I've been to a game before. Could have.
That's fan behavior at times.
I've never been I'm trying to think of like what my worst moment as a fan where I crossed. I'm certainly never like throwing stuff on the field.
No.
But there's definitely a feeling. Especially when I was younger and dumber and didn't really like think through this stuff of like you go to a game and there's a feeling that there's like an invisible wall.
Yes.
And it's a one-way street of like
exactly.
I go this way but it never comes back this way. And that's why
the wall can be broken.
That's why you let Russell Westbrook climb up there. Just to like not to punch him, not to I don't think you let that happen. But you let the guy know it can come back. It's not a one-way street. It's a give and take.
Yes.
But one thing I'm confused about, though, is the Knicks have come out and said that the guy who spit on Trae Young is banned indefinitely, as we said at the top. And Philly has banned from the Wells Fargo Arena the fan that poured popcorn indefinitely. How do you ban people from arenas? Because I was trying to work through the logistics of that. Because that's like the reaction that everybody had when they saw this stuff. It's like, ban them for life. Like I saw KD even tweet it. It was like, it's all fun and games so you get banned for life. And like that is, I don't disagree. I think like if you spit on somebody, you should probably be banned for life.
Yeah, probably banned for life.
But also, how do you enforce that? That was a worry that I had.
Especially because these aren't season ticket holders. These are guys that, bought tickets from Ticketmaster or, some random person on the street. and then they get into the building, and then I was thinking to myself, is it facial recognition? Is it like we have the picture of the person?
Well, I was going to say,
because then do you go incognito? Do they get back in, and do they brag about it? Did they have like a moment in time where they're like on, whatever, TikTok or whatever the hell, and they're like, I'm back in this, and
that's exactly going to happen.
That's what I'm terrified of.
That is, I mean, that's an old Seinfeld bit about like the wanted posters, and it's like it looks like that's good. You put up a picture of a guy that says wanted, but you look at the picture, you look around, and if the guy's not there, you're like, all right, I did my part. Like that's as far as the one. Like that's how I feel about the ban for life. It's like you're gonna take this guy's picture and show all your security guards and be like, do not let this guy in the arena. And like they're gonna look at it for 3 seconds, try to memorize it, and then like 10 minutes later, they're gonna completely forget that guy's face. And I don't know how they're gonna enforce that. I don't know, but I just
maybe the name is blocked when you try to buy a ticket. You know what I mean? Like if you're on any sort of web. But then again, what stops you from going outside and just buying a ticket from?
That's what I mean. Yeah,
anybody.
I don't. Yeah, and or just doing
if
a Bobby
anyone's scalping
Valentine,
tickets,
putting
they can
a mustache on and showing back. I don't know. It's. But I like the gesture nonetheless. I like putting out the statement, banned indefinitely, get him out of here. The other reaction I saw that was confusing to me was I saw a lot of people rushing to Russell Westbrook's defense. And saying I don't like. There's a lot of like I don't know how you can hate this guy. Why I don't get it. And what was confusing to me was like I don't understand. Is this something that happens that like people hate Russell Westbrook?
Yes.
That it is okay.
Let's just be honest. Every player in the NBA, everyone hates them.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
every player that's on the NBA just has people that are just talking shit about them all the time, unless they're doing heroic things. And even in that moment, Dame Lillard 1 week is the MVP of the league, and the next week he's a bum and can't lead the Portland Trailblazers. You know what I mean? And that works for everybody.
I just saw a lot of like straw men being
Russell
attacked.
Westbrook
like,
is his own entity because he is the triple-double god. So there's like a group of people that are like, he is the GOAT because he has triple-doubles. And there's a group of people that think he's a stat patter. He has that whole contingency. Then there's a group of, I hope, the majority of us that are just like, I'm pretty amazed by Russell Westbrook, but also at times I'm happy when he takes a long jump shot, as the other team. As someone who's pulling for the Sixers, I'm like, I'll let Westbrook have that shot, But like that comes to the territory. Also, he's going to have 30, 12, and 12 and be amazing. So,
yeah, I saw a lot of. I don't know how you can hate this guy. All he does is play his ass off, and I thought, who hates it? So maybe they were talking about the guy pouring the popcorn. That like they think he hates Russell Westbrook, which I don't think that was the case. I think like you're giving that guy too much credit that he was again like he was scheming at home for the last month. That like when I see Russell Westbrook, I'm dumping the popcorn. It was just an instinctive like that dude's not on my team.
Yeah.
Here's some popcorn. Like,
I mean, the worst part about it was that he was hurt. It's not like he was, that was the other. But then the good part, if you're a Wizards fan, was he didn't seem that hurt.
Now before the game, Bradley
he snapped back real quick. I was like, all right, that ankle's looking good.
Russell Westbrook is questionable, and then like Brad Beal just comes over and pours popcorn on him, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's gonna play now. That was the secret. That's the secret stuff to get Russell Westbrook.
That was
it is. It's. I'm going to put me on the side that everyone else is on. That this is bad. Don't do this, fans.
Right.
That I don't mean to be having an argument that doesn't really exist because I feel like that's kind of happening too, where people are like no one thinks that this is good, so we don't really need to yell at each other that like this is bad that fans are doing.
Yeah, and if you saw someone on the street spit on someone, you would be like, you're banned for life. You wouldn't even know what that means. You know what I mean? You don't know how you can enforce it, but you're just kind of like, you're the worst. Like you're banned for life. If I saw someone just walk up to you and just dump popcorn on you, I would say, I mean, I'm not sure you're banned for life, but I'm also like, screw you, get away from me, don't ever come back here. Actually, never mind, you're banned for life. So,
do you know
how do we enforce it? We don't know.
But do you know anybody that's ever been banned from anything? That I'm trying to think of, like, if I know any friends that have been banned from bars or something.
I know I had friends that were banned from the managers game, the Duke North Carolina managers game, because we basically incited a fight one year between Ryan Kelly's brother. So we
that's right. That's right.
We were banned the next year, but. Worth it, 100% worth it.
Did you sneak in?
No, I mean I wasn't banned. You know,
you were banned.
I was still media, so I got
to
go. But other people, the people that helped, with me incite the riot, they were not there.
Anything else we got to talk about?
I mean, should we talk about Ja Morant quickly? Because
we can,
yeah. I just wanted to. First of all, this series is fascinating because we've been trying to find out who the Duke of the NBA is. Of course, the Lakers are the new Duke, but I think the Jazz are the old Duke. and very drive and kick oriented, very theatrical is probably the best word I could use at times. They have a scorer who's like a shot maker that's very
Mike Conley.
I love Mike,
but Mike's the shot maker.
He's a shot maker, but I'm talking about Donovan Mitchell. That like when he makes a shot, he's very old. JJ was in college, which is like, give me that. Like I'm out here. I'm doing this.
We were early on this. The Donovan Mitchell. We saw him in summer league, and he was giving off the I want to be seen vibes. Like hardcore. He was a little too available. Like he hadn't figured out the algorithm of like LeBron goes to summer league. He's always spotted sitting courtside at a few games, whatever team he's on. And Donovan Mitchell's like, I want to do that too. And then he would go to every single game, and you could tell that like he was new. And it was like, Donovan, you don't go to every game. You don't spend 8 hours at the Thomas and Mack Arena.
And he's like, I need more coverage.
And
show me more.
And Chris, because all these guys come in and out, but you got to come in, get on camera, get out, and go to the club. That's how it's supposed to work. And Donovan was a little too much like, I'm gonna hang out until give me all the camera time. It rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, in this game,
not my franchise player.
This series is amazing because it's Ja Morant to me. 73 points in his first 2 playoff games. That's second to George Mikan all time. So first off, what? That's insane. And everyone on that list.
First of all, what? George Mikan
has 75 points in his first 2 playoff games.
Had the record? That's crazy.
Record.
Yeah.
First of all,
a lot of reverse layups.
A lot of people, they want to say Magic and Bird, but we all know it was Mikan. You know what I mean? The NBA doesn't exist without George Mikan, but love Mikan.
Love the Mikan drill for real, because like
it really is a great drill.
Who does anybody else have a drill named after him that's that ubiquitous?
I don't think so.
I'm sure other people. There are other drills out there named after people.
There are moves too, like a step out move is like the CP.
But that's not like Mikan drill. You can go to anywhere in the world.
Exactly, and tell it's the Mikan drill.
Give me the Mikan drill, and every kid that plays basketball knows
I'll tell you this: Luka Garza does the Mikan drill.
He does the Mikan drill.
That dude loves the Mikan drill.
He kills it
every day.
We did a Hubie. We had a drill called the Hubie Brown at Ohio State, but I don't think that's like I didn't know what it was till I got to Ohio State.
Yeah. But Hubie Brown's the best clinician in the world.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
I'm trying to think of what. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to research. I wasn't prepared for that. Anyway, go on. What were you saying?
Well, I was saying that Ja Morant basically has shown to me that he's a future MVP in this series, and they're up 1-0. I know Donovan didn't play in Game 1, but the way that this guy doesn't have to pick up his dribble and can go everywhere that he wants to go, it's like Derrick Rose. It reminds me of Derrick Rose, but it's also more in control than Derrick was.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. He has the same aggressive tendency of like, I'm going to dunk. I'm going downhill. You will not stop it. But he also has this like CP3, whatever. Like he has that poise of a point guard that you love. He's just so aware, and I'm so impressed because he's so young. And the fact that he's in the same class as Zion. Like Zion, I know is supposed to be. We all have to praise at the altar of Zion. I love Zion. He's great. But this kid, the number 2 pick, he fascinates me in a totally different way. And I know Luka's done similar things. I think Luka was 70 points in his first 2 playoff games, so not going to diminish him and say he's not in the same group. But Ja Morant has my full attention. And that says something because on the flip side, the Jazz are an amazing team. They've been great all year. They're the best team in basketball based on record. And Mike Conley is playing he's playing the guy that took his spot. Yeah. And I don't necessarily like that back and forth because I love Mike and I'm pulling for Mike.
Mike had 20 and 15.
He's an all-star. He's an all-star.
Yeah, and won an Oscar.
But exactly. But on the flip side, this kid has something different. And shout out to Dylan Brooks. I thought he was just a college player, but he's doing it. He has confidence. This Grizzlies team, I really like them.
Yeah, I think so. I think when they lose Game 5,
I know.
To lose
I don't want to pull against the Jazz, but I like the Grizzlies.
I'm glad you shouted out Ja Morant because he is the first 2 games. He does get anywhere he wants on the floor.
He doesn't pick up his dribble.
Does not pick up.
They try to get it, dude. They try to get him They try to deny him like to bring the ball up because they're like, we don't want him to get a dribble.
He makes it look so easy that
he's so good.
If you're a hater, if you have a tinge of hater in you, which I definitely do, and I get more hater in me the older I get.
Yes,
that's how it works.
I think so.
That's how age works. You watch how good Ja Morant is, and you appreciate it and you love it, but then you're also like, something must be done. We have to change the rules. We cannot allow this man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if Mike Conley and Rudy get like Mike isn't the defender he once was, obviously, but he's still.
No, I mean,
he's still,
Mike is a good defender.
He's a good defender.
Yeah, exactly.
Rudy Gobert is Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell can guard when he wants to, obviously.
He can flail,
If this team can't, like if Ja Morant can literally do whatever he wants on a basketball court with these guys guarding him, we have to do something. We have to change the rules. We have to. That's like it gets to that point where I'm watching. I'm like, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
There has to be more defense.
Yeah.
We have to do something.
Yeah.
Like allow them to just like grab jerseys now. You can just grab a handful of I don't know, because if not, Ja Morant, based on what he's done the first 2 games, you really do feel like there's going to be a season like 3 years down the road where he averages like 40 points a game in the NBA. He's not, but that's how it feels when I'm watching it.
He's the most fascinating player in the sense that this series, like if you came up to me today and you said who's going to win this series, I would say the Grizzlies. You know, that's how fascinating he is to me, because I don't think that their confidence is going to be hurt at all by this team. And in fact, if I was the Jazz, I would be terrified of going on the road to Memphis. Yeah. Like, I do not want to play on the road, because even at home, we had our crowd, we had everything going right, and they were terrified up 17. Like they were tight butthole up 17. Yeah. They were worried about the comeback the entire time. And at the end of the day, the Grizzlies left that game. Dylan Brooks knows he got a little hosed by the officials. It was home cooking. Shaq called it out. So I would be concerned.
I think the thing on your side is that the Grizzlies fans are going to cheer for Mike. So if you're the Jazz,
that might
you have to just feed Mike, because
be.
I think you just give Mike the ball and let him make all the plays, because every time he does something, they're not going to. They might cheer for him.
Valanciunas has to be what he's been doing. He has to be great. Jaren Jackson Jr. is not it right now for them. So he's not the answer. Grace now is not the answer. It's a Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, Jonas Valanciunas type team, and I'm enjoying the Grizzlies.
Are you saying the Grizzlies have the best player in the series?
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
And I like Donovan Mitchell a lot as a basketball player, but I'm telling you. And, you know, I'm like I love numbers and I love what they represent, like 23 in basketball, 10 in soccer. But 12, like a Phil Ford number, you know, as the point guard, I have a very special place in my heart for the number 12. That's why Zion not wearing 12 at North Carolina still breaks my heart to this day. But Ja wearing 12.
Phil Ford, tell people the story again. Phil Ford
was going
unretired for Zion.
Yes, exactly. So he was going to let Zion wear number 12. Zion was very hype on it and was like, this is such an honor. Thank you, Phil Ford. I'm going to play at North Carolina. I want to sign a Jordan Brand contract. We're all high-fiving. We're like, we got him. And then who knows what happened?
Yeah.
Who knows? You should read the News and Observer. They're reporting on it. And then number 45 obviously is what Jordan wore when he came back the first time. So like Donovan wears that. So it's like, you know, I like that these guys in my mind are influenced by the greatest. So 12 versus 45. And this series I did not care about going into it because I thought that the Jazz would be able to handle it, but they can't handle the Heat. They can't handle the Heat right now. I like it. It's fun, man. NBA basketball's got me fired up.
In the mind of Tate Frazier, the Knicks Grizzlies finals is going to be First of all, the Knicks and the Grizzlies are going to play in the finals, and secondly, it's a huge win for Jordan.
Yeah,
when it does happen, it's a W for Jordan.
Yeah, I know. My real Sixers are my team. That's who. If the Sixers win the championship, then I understand basketball again. If the Sixers don't win, then I have to figure out. I have to reevaluate what's going on.
If the Nets win, it's obviously just kind of what we already know. It's just load up on talent.
Yeah.
And be more talented.
AAU basketball.
Yeah. The Sixers win, as you said. The Sixers are the best team, I think, top to bottom in terms of actual
basketball championship level players.
How to construct the team.
Yes.
How to run an offense.
Yes.
That
Everything.
kind of stuff.
We have real plays.
Yeah.
And I say we now, the pejorative we, because that's how hard I am on the Sixers. I'm like, I am fully locked in, but also not cursing them. So erase all this.
If the Lakers win, it'll confirm what we know, that the NBA is rigged.
Yes, 100%. I think 100%. And you know what's crazy? When we did our first show, we're sitting here and we're like, who's most panicked? Clippers, Lakers. And now I feel like the Lakers are going to win in 5.
I think the Lakers are going to win the tie. Every time. This is why the Lakers. This is why the Lakers are catnip, and we just like people talk about them all the time because. When the Lakers win a playoff game, I say this team is going to win the title. When they lose a playoff game, I say it's over. This is it. We're watching the end of the empire.
They're the most black and white team of all time. You know what I mean? It is either Anthony Davis is unstoppable, best forward in the league, or he's trash. Get him out of my face. LeBron needs to go to the Warriors.
And that is why they are the Duke of the NBA, Tate. Because the exact same thing happens to Duke. They lose at home to like Miami in January. And you're like, this team is done.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of here.
Yeah.
And then they beat like
North Carolina by 10.
North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and you're like, they're back.
Duke basketball.
Anything else? Is that it?
I think
you
that's
got shout-outs? Anything?
I mean, I just wanted to shout out. I know this is like the news and the hubbub. I want to shout out Ben Affleck because he right now, I mean, what a ridiculous, like he goes from Ana de Armas, you know, which is, I mean, good for him. Like that's 5 stars. Like from the bench, you know, we're all we're like, good job, Ben. And then, you have A-Rod and J-Lo, this very, outward, public couple that everyone, fawns over. And then they end things. And then he immediately is right there on the rebound.
Swooping her up.
I mean, it feels like 2001 again with these two. And not only that, the next level, I have to shout out Diddy, because this is a very Red Sox, Yankees. A-Rod doesn't go to the Red Sox, goes to the Yankees. But in the end, Ben wins because he gets J-Lo. But then Diddy, avid Yankees fan, is now throwing his cap into the ring. And he is saying, J-Lo, I want Jenny from the block. I want her back with me.
We need J-Lo.
So
we need a J-Lo.
That is the war right now. Who wants J-Lo? Who will win J-Lo?
We need a Tipton edits for J-Lo, I think.
Yes, we have all of our choices. Diddy, Ben Affleck.
Someone get a hold of Tipton, the Tipton guy.
I don't know where she goes. Mark Anthony, she goes back.
She has an announcement. A recruited J-Lo, come on the show and make your recruiting announcement.
Honestly,
who are you picking?
I think she should make a new Selena movie too while she's at it. You know what I mean? I know they made the new series, but people don't like it. But I'm like, let's just get J-Lo. But let's fully Jiggly. Isn't that the name of the movie they did?
Yeah.
Let's remake that. Jiggly 2.
Jiggly, I think was
Jiggly, whatever the name. Ain't nobody watching that. So ain't nobody watching that. So let's make that again. All we need is reruns. Shout out to Ben Affleck though. One of the most ridiculous people that I've ever observed in real life, and continues to do it.
I'm excited for the rise of Ben Affleck because I get told I look like Ben Affleck.
The rise.
Like the re-rise. I mean, the re-apex, if you will.
In Tropic Thunder when it's Scorcher and it's like in a kid. Yeah, that is Ben Affleck.
Well, I mean, like Ben Affleck. Let's be honest. The last however many years,
Scorcher 6.
Like Ben Affleck, I'll say this, Tate. I get told I look like Ben Affleck all the time.
Yes.
This has been something I've been plagued with for most of my life. And for a while, it was good. Like, I was like, I don't hate that. Like, there are worse people to look like. I've been told I look like less attractive people. So you tell me I look like Ben Affleck, I'll take it, whatever. But then there's a run where people are like, dude, you look exactly like Ben Affleck. And all I picture is the having the towel around him with the dragon tattoo on his back, and he's staring into the abyss, and then fumbling Dunkin' Donuts coffees.
Yeah.
And like people tell me I look like that guy, and I'm like, I don't want to look like that guy. So that's what I'm
you
saying.
Be Argo.
Like
you want to be Argo Affleck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
2013 Affleck.
Goodwill Hunting Affleck. Like just.
No, that's too far removed.
I'll take.
Ben will never get back there.
I'll take any of them other than the fumbling Dunkin' Donuts tattooed towel around his waist.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, getting J-Lo and being like, this is a win for Ben Affleck, and by extension, by proxy, it is a win for me because. Ben Affleck, the good Ben Affleck means like people saying I look like him is a good.
He already looks out. He's got a green Monster shirt on. He's like smoking a cigarette. He's staring out into the abyss, and all he hears is "Hello, darkness, my old friend." So I think he's already made a grave mistake. As we all know,
Ben,
you never go back.
You know how many?
You never go back.
Ben, you know how many
Never
white
go
guys
back.
look like you? Figure this out, dude. Like get your life together, because all of us that kind of look like you are depending on it. We need this as a group of guys that look like you. Please.
We're also hearing that Matt Damon is doing a new movie just to make sure that people remember that he is also. He's like, I am acting and I'm an artist. Ben, do something. Matt Damon is making another movie.
I had one shout out. I had a couple actually, but one of them is Dickie V. Was flying first class on United today and was disgusted by the meal options.
United, never fly it.
And he took to Twitter and had a series of tweets about how bad the meal options were in first class on United, and it's ridiculous. But the reason I wanted to bring it up because it was like that's funny in and of itself. But he tweets when he lands that he can't wait to get to a concession stand in the airport. He uses the phrase concession stand because the choices were so bad on United. He can't wait to get to the concession stand. And I just found that funny and very old timey that he thinks that like concession stands exist in the airport. That there's a guy that's like popcorn here, and he gets off the plane.
Give me some Cracker Jacks.
Yeah. How many you want? Hey.
Yeah, literally.
And then Dickie V hands the money down the line.
And then he puts his shoes like shine my shoes.
Yeah. So
Dickie V.
I hope Dickie V made his way to a concession stand and got his meal because first class wasn't quite first class.
I mean, he flew United 5 hours.
Yeah,
that's too. I mean, United flights for me, it's like never over 2.5 hours.
What airline do you believe in?
I believe in Delta.
Okay,
but I'm also from North Carolina, close to Atlanta. I believe in JetBlue. I used to believe in Alaskan until they got bought. I used to believe in Virgin. Virgin was always the nicest, right?
There's somebody listening that's like, I've flown Delta 100 times and 99 times they've ruined my life. Like,
American has ruined my life.
I fly like almost exclusively American. That's funny. So
I've
never had a problem.
Yeah.
So.
I literally
That's
flight.
The joy of airlines.
I didn't even tell
like,
you this. When I got on my flight to Dallas last weekend, I'm in the exit row, and guy sits down in the exit row, and he's a little bit finicky. He's like kind of like looks nervous, and I'm like, man, this guy's tripping me out because I don't like flying. I watch air disasters. I know anything can happen, and he's right next to me, and they ask you like, are you okay to help and assist? I'm like, yeah. And they ask him, and he goes, I volunteer to move seats. And and I like listen to music, so I'm like, all right, let me hear what he's saying here. And the lady's like, oh, what's wrong? You're not feeling well, whatever. He's like, no, I had a dream last night that the plane crashed that I was on, and I haven't flown in 10 years. And so, and the last time I flew, we had a lot of like the plane had to like emergency land. So he like tells his whole story. I'm on the X row. There's one other lady over here who doesn't look like she's gonna be able to help if the plane goes down. So it's basically all me. So the whole flight, I'm reading my book, and every turbulence I'm hitting, I'm like, all right, go time, Tate, lock in. Let's do this.
Tate.
We finally land in Dallas. Like, I'm clapping because I'm like, we survived. And he's walking up to get out the plane. The flight attendant lady, she's just as, verklempt as I am. She's like, looks at him and she's like, congratulations, you made it. He goes, now I got to go get on my connecting flight because he's flying. And I was like, good luck to that plane.
Oh, my God.
So, in general, I don't even know how that story came up, but that is, be safe out there on all your flights. And also, if you have someone say that, I was this close to just getting off the plane, I was literally like about to volunteer to also leave. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go.
There really are like two groups of people that fly where they're the people that clap when it lands, and then there are those of us that don't and look at you like, why would you?
Like you're a maniac to be worried.
Why are you a maniac?
Yeah.
And now that makes more sense. That there are people, because I'm the opposite. I'm like, if it goes down, it goes down. Like, honestly, it would save me a lot of, like a lot of strife. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of stuff going on in my life.
See, for me, I'm thinking about all the things I would have to do, like that I would be left behind to be done if it went down. So I'm just stressed about that.
The fear of going down on a plane to me is like I just want to make the blurb. You know what I mean? Like when they're like, and on the plane was ... and then and others. I don't want to be one of the others.
Yeah.
I want them to mention like a guy who had this podcast. I don't think that's good enough.
Yeah,
that's why I'm worried. Like I'm worried.
I'll tell you, it's not.
I know. I'm worried. I'm going to be on a plane.
The worst part is the guy who had a podcast didn't get the door open in time. That's all I was thinking. I'm like reading the instructions on the door. I'm like, so I got to lift up and then I got to pull out and then I got to push out. All right, cool, I got it.
That is funny, dude, because every time you sit in the exit row,
you're expected to
know.
They
come by and they're like, are you good with the exit row? And I always look at it, I'm like, lady, listen. I've flown 17,000 times in my life. You are annoying the shit out of me, asking me if I know the safety, blah, blah, blah. The seats under the life preservers under the seat. I get it. I get it. Get out of my face. Let me go sleep. But now that I think about it, I wouldn't know how to open the door.
Dude, it's 3 steps. It's 3 steps. Because that's what I was saying. I was like, I'd be on step 2, and then people are yelling at me. Imagine that. Imagine the pressure. Imagine that.
That's a game show that's like no one would actually watch, but it's like just get people off the street and be like, okay, now open this exit row seat. And they're like,
I think there should be a flight officer that's on planes that's for the people. Like in talking about Dickie V, like he should be on the flight, and we complain to him, and then he deals with like United.
It's like an air marshal, but it's for instead of trying to arrest people, it's trying to arrest the corporations.
Yeah. And then if we do go down, like the air officer is like, I'll open this door.
Yeah.
He handles safety protocols.
Dude, how tight would being an air marshal be? Maybe it wouldn't be, but that seems like a fun. I don't know. Every time they show up in like movies and TV shows,
it does seem like they're cool dudes.
It seems like a cool job, dude. You just like fly around.
The description
and you got a gun.
for the air marshal is always good. You know what I mean? If you get asked to be the air marshal, you're like feeling good as an actor. You're like, oh.
I feel like we've talked about this on a podcast before, like a couple of years ago, because I vaguely remember a guy writing in and telling me that like he was an air marshal, but yeah, I don't know. I wanted to re-up that discussion.
Yeah.
If you're an air marshal, email us again.
Dickie V, fly safely.
That's it. I had other stuff. Go watch the Indy 500. That was my other thing. I want everyone to watch the Indy 500. It's this Sunday. It's not on Fox, but that's okay. We make exceptions of telling you to watch things that aren't on Fox when they
because that makes you know when we tell you to watch things on Fox.
Exactly.
It's genuine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Watch the Indy 500. It is my favorite sporting event in the world, and I just want more people to be aware of it and to love it like I do. And I know that's not going to happen, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to go down.
Yeah.
with the ship or the plane, and for keeping that metaphor and trying to get people to watch the new 500. Also, if you're listening to this podcast on a flight, we're sorry.
Yeah, we're so sorry.
We're sorry. Anything else? Is that it?
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy
everybody.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Enjoy. You got any plans?
Not right now.
I don't need. I was gonna fly anywhere. I was gonna fly home, but not anymore. Yeah, me neither. I'm gonna go do my Ben Affleck and just go to the ocean and stare into the water with the towel around my waist.
Yeah,
I think
the cigarette out of your mouth and drinking Dunkin' Donuts. That's the Affleck life.
Enjoy the holiday. We're going to be back. We're taking Monday off. We usually record on Monday. We're going to take Memorial Day off. We'll record Tuesday morning, so the show Tuesday will be out a little later.
One day behind, but so will you. You'll be one day behind.
We're all one day behind. Everybody, go have fun. See you guys.
Enjoy it. Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.